everyone, this is Nancy Steen. I'm co-owner of the companies that produce the Destroyer books. But today we're here to talk about our upcoming classes for the DAT and the OAT. I'm here with Dr. Romano, and he's going to go over what happens in those classes. If you have any detailed questions, you can always email me. Take it away, Dr.
Hi.
Romano.
We're going to drive this class from September 11th to December 11th of this year. And what we plan to do, and this will be with Professor Barangotes, and then myself initially will come in, and we'll be going over a foundation building in General Chemistry 1 and 2. That's the way we're going to start the course. Many students never really learn the concepts, especially of general chemistry, so we're going to make sure you thoroughly understand general chemistry. We'll start off by going over things like moles and grams and metric system. From there, we'll be going over things like periodic table, things like gas laws, things like empirical formula, all the sorts of calculations you'll need to know. From there, we'll move on to the second semester. Second semester organic chemistry will include things like kinetics, things like acid-base and buffers and stuff like solubility principles, solubility rules, electrochemistry, general chemistry. So I think that's very important, because there's no way you can really go on into organic chemistry unless you have an understanding of Gen Chem. You might say, well, where would that come in? Well, very simple. How about when we get to the area of Lewis acid and Lewis bases, when we're talking about electrophiles and nucleophiles? So you need to have an understanding. Most students really never learn the concepts. Or if they did learn the concepts, they've been away from it, or they just had teachers that just plain suck. That's the bottom line. So what we're going to do, and again, this is the way I've built my business, and again, I've been teaching over 30 years. I'm not going to say how far beyond 30 years, because then you think I'm an old geezer, but I've never, ever just started saying, let's just do some multiple choice questions. In an ideal world, that would be the best thing to do. We'll just do multiple choice questions. But that would be an error of magnitude, for the simple reason is everybody is not on the same wavelength. I don't think that everybody's learned the same material. So we're going to even that playing field. Once I get through and Dennis gets
Dr.
through.
Romano, I'm going to stop you right here. We do get non-traditional students who have been away from the subjects for years too, so this course is perfect.
Right. Well, that's true if you've been away from it for all those years. Once we get through general chemistry, we're going to get into the Orgo. Orgo 1 will be things like nomenclature, going over the functional groups, acid-base theory, a little bit on molecular orbitals and hybridization. Things like E and Z. You might have learned E and Z is the same as cis and trans bullshit. It's not the same. We'll go over all that. I'll be retracing the path that my professor done for me. My professor was nominated for the 1969 Nobel Prize in Organic Chemistry, Johann Schultz of Germany. He was actually friends with two guys named Diels and Alder, which you might recognize, who were Nobel laureates. They built 6-membered rings. And we will thoroughly go over the fundamentals of Orgo 1. Once we get to Orgo 2, that's when the big reactions will start. Things like aldol and Claisen, Michael reaction, all those questions, Vedic reaction will be handled. They're all questions that will and could land on the DAT and the OAT exam. Once we've done that, at the very tail end of organic, we want to put in a little biochemistry. We'll be going over things like amino acids and lipids and proteins, nucleic acids, which are always things that usually you don't get to cover in Orgo 2. For whatever reason, you just never get to finish all the sections. So we're going to be teaching that. Once we get through that, that's when we'll get into the biology section. The biology section will be divided. We'll be doing embryology. We'll be doing anatomy and physiology. We'll be doing genetics and things like that. From there, we'll go on to math, and we'll go over some of the principles of math, going over some of the questions. In addition, we have a whole arsenal of videos. Professor Barangotes will be assigning them for homework. We'll be doing problems from the DAT Destroyer book, and he'll be assigning them. Usually, they'll coincide with the lecture. So if we're doing things on, for instance, limiting reagents, we'll show you 2 or 3 questions we want you to do for homework. And that's the best way to handle it. Before you can do multiple choice questions, you need to have that foundation. Because what is a hard question? I mean, if you don't know the concept, everything is hard. So whatever your plight is that you seek help, we got to remedy that, and the best way to remedy that is to lay the foundation and teach the concepts.
Thank you, Dr. Romano. That was great. And you said the classes will begin September 11th, and they do meet on Sunday and Wednesday. So that's about all we have to say. Anything else, Dr. Romano?
Yes, other than that, I hope you're enjoying the study group. That's an integral part of the course. Taking part in the study group, so working the problems so you can see what you don't know. You just can't be an observer in this game. It's the same thing as if you were watching tennis or skiing. You can't just watch it, right? You got to get out there and you got to participate. So it's the same thing with academics. It's not like just reading history or sociology. When you're doing science, especially the chemistry section, you got to do the problems. You got to do the problems, and more importantly, make the errors. Nothing wrong in making errors as long as you can pick yourself back up and say, I know what I did wrong and I'm ready for next time.
Thank you, Dr. Romano. Again, if you have any questions, contact me, and stay tuned for more videos. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.